might get underway. So a good place to start would be, Tony, just for those of us who are a little bit newer to understanding Marist Solidarity Cambodia, could you tell us a little bit about its history and how it started there in Cambodia?
Well, Brother Terry Heinrich started the school for young people with disabilities in Phnom Penh in 1998. Just started in an apartment block. After 2 years, during those first 2 years, they built what we now call LaValla at Khmer, which is about 13 or 14 kilometres out of Phnom Penh. So then they moved out here, and this is where we've been ever since. Since the original beginning, we have moved from just being a primary school to also looking after and supporting young people who go to secondary school and university. We joined with another organisation that existed here, which was founded by Marist fathers in Australia, and they initially started a hostel called Villa Maria, and that was where the university and the high school were. So in about 2010, I think, the two groups combined and formed Marist Solidarity Cambodia. So as well as having the primary school students here at LaValla, which is a boarding school, we had a hostel for high school students. They live with us and go to the local high school, and then some of them stay on and go on to university. But we also support about another 100 students who live at home and go to their local high school. So all in all, at the moment, we're supporting about 200 kids, or young people, either in primary school or secondary school or university. And as well as that, we're just launching into assisting kids doing vocational training for employment. So that's a very, very quick history of
a brief summary. Lovely. Thanks, Tony. And we've got, I'm just going to show you now, we do have some photos from LaValla that we'll share with you that hopefully everyone can see. Give me a thumbs up if you can see our first photo here. Let's see. I think we've, sorry, it's come to the end, so I'm going to just quickly come back to our first shots. Our first shots, if I'm correct, Tony, here are of the new LaValla Village, the village which is the residential space at the school. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about that?
The village was opened last year in November. And as I said, it's to house, to accommodate the secondary school students who go to the local high school. They were at Villa Maria, but Villa Maria is a very small site and it's really overcrowded. So one of the last things Br Tony did was to start the building of this village, basically a place for them to live and to do their study. It's right next door to LaValla School. So one of the things it's enabled us to do is to sort of treat the whole thing from the beginning of primary school to the end. It's much easier to treat it as one organisation rather than people thinking of it as two separate projects. What you see on screen now is
so what are we seeing here? Are we? Yep.
Right.
And here obviously is a photo from our opening day with Brother Peter Carroll, the Australian Provincial of the Marist Brothers. And who are all these important people, Tony?
The people behind the main person we had was the General Secretary of the Disability Action Council in Cambodia, and many of the others were local government officials in education, social services and various groups like that, local community leaders and village chiefs. There was a big gathering of local people. These are mostly the staff.
Wonderful. Sranan, it's wonderful to see so many women. Lots of women in positions of support there. And here I suspect we're seeing some photos from the school. Sorry, Tony, I'll just get you to start again. Can you hear us?
Yeah, no, okay. So this photo now.
Yes, we're just seeing some students.
Some of the LaValla School, primary school kids on the day of the village opening. All of them obviously have some sort of disability. The interesting thing, from my perspective, the interesting thing is after you've been here a little while, you don't see kids with disabilities, they're just normal kids. It's really interesting. Like disability just disappears. This photo here is
absolutely.
We had a group of doctors from this organisation called Hope Cambodia. They're all ear, nose and throat specialists. They came and tested all our kids one day. We have lots of groups like this who help us out for nothing.
Wonderful. And we've got here some photos from Champagne Day. Obviously this year it was a bit different. In 2020 you weren't able to join, but these are some photos from 2019 from the celebration of Champagne Day. Is there a strong association with St Marcel and Champagne and the Marist brothers in the school community, Tony?
Yeah, there is. One of the best people I know that talks about Marist spirit and Marist and Champagne and all of that is Sranan. Everybody who comes here gets a lecture on Marist values and Marist and Champagne.
That's wonderful. There's so many people from different parts of the Marist network in Australia who are joining tonight, and it's always lovely. It makes us feel like family when we talk to people who are also part of St Marcel and Champagne's legacy. So that's lovely. And here we're sort of seeing a broad section of, are we seeing primary school and high school students here, Tony?
I think this was just a primary school exercise.
Just primary school. Okay. And here we are in one of the classrooms.
Sorry, I'm breaking up on this there.
And there's a few slides now there's a few slides now of the students doing PE or some sports, some stretching. Is that part of every day?
No, sorry, I can't get you. This photograph now is just a typical classroom thing. I guess it's like any school in any country.
Wonderful. And then some stretching PE.
One of the interesting features of our staff here, we've got about 45 staff altogether. I'd say about half of them are people with disability. And every one of our teachers, the teaching staff, are people with disabilities. So they're wonderful role models for the kids.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tony. We've got, I don't know if you can see some photos here of PE and sport. We might move through these. We've got a photo here coming to your screen shortly, just of how empty it is at the moment without all those wonderful young people, and we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. So some spaces. Here's facilities. If you can follow along and see, there's a swimming pool. I imagine that's where a lot of physical therapy happens. Is that correct, Tony?
Oh yes, they do use physical therapy. Obviously it's used just recreation as well. The kids love it. Particularly the ones in wheelchairs who can't get around. Once they get in the water, it's a whole different don't fall down for it. You can play and move around. Some of them love it. And it's great, you know, great exercise for them.
Wonderful. I'm a bit concerned about our network, so I won't play. We've got some little videos there that show the site at LaValla, and we'll put some links to those on our Facebook page if anybody wants to see them. But now that we've heard a little bit more about LaValla and how it started and what's there, you've introduced yourselves already, but maybe you can each tell us, what do you most love about your role and your work at LaValla?
Yes, good afternoon again. I'm Serena, I'm principal here. My role, we have four role, and monitor for teaching and learning. One role, monitor teaching and learning. I must keep to look at the teacher in the classroom and to check teaching plan and check when the teacher teach and look demonstration. One and
okay,
two,
so
yes, and
you
two, yes.
You work very closely with the teachers?
Yes, I'm a teacher too, and two role I'm a teacher training. Teacher training in 1 year.
Teacher training, yes.
Yeah, we must be to look the teacher, ask the teacher, and the teacher have a question. What did they understand? If I can help, I help. If I don't understand, we have more capacity building. We let us from another side to study. This year we talk about for the student that we have when the student live here and appear to the village.
Okay.
Like this.
Okay.
Yes. If outside I can teach. We will have another teacher. And I am a teacher too, and teach a special class for grade 1. I teach.
Wonderful.
Yes, and for my role, I have for administration. I have manage for meeting. We have some solving problem. We design to book for the student. Everything we have time in administration. This is my role. But I love the most my role. I'm a teaching. I love my teaching.
Yeah.
This is my role.
Thank you, Shrenan. And we can see the passion that you have for the school and for the students. And I can imagine why you love being in the classroom the most. But it sounds like you are very busy with all of those different things.
I like
Tanya,
teaching.
what about? No problem. We can see you love it. It's wonderful. Panya, what's your role and what do you love about your work at LaValla?
Okay. So it's my role. Everything. Yes, so I was a driver. Yes, and so when we beginning, so now I am finance and administrative. And then so beside of my role, I do other tasks like welding, plumbing, electric.
Wow.
Yes, and other thing. If I can, I do everything.
In Australia, we say that you are a jack of all trades. It means you can do a little bit of everything. So they're very lucky to have you. Brother Tony, what's your favourite thing about being at LaValla?
One of the things that happens here, I think, for the kids is that for the first time in their lives, they're not defined by the disability. Yeah. Most of them find at home that they, apart from their family, that they don't get treated very well by local people. Some of them have tried to go to school because of their disability, that they're treated badly. When they come here, everybody's got a disability, so it's no longer an issue.
Yeah.
So they can start to develop their ability, become aware of their abilities to start, rather than just being told all the time what their disability is.
And it must be rather special to see that potential open up and for young people to be able to start reaching for the stars and seeing, you know, having dreams.
Yeah. You see, for example, I've seen kids come would have lost an arm, and for the first 3 weeks, they're hiding it. Big shame. But after a while, it just, just forget that. It's not an issue anymore. And they just get on with life.
And do you see a huge boost in their confidence from that?
Well, they get confident. They get their self-esteem. Like for the first time in their lives, they've experienced a whole group of people who just accept them as normal people, who don't treat them badly. And, for the first time in their lives, they think, oh, I have got something worthwhile to offer, and I can develop that. And for me, that's the biggest thing that we offer the kids. For sure, we give them a good education, and we improve their health and all those other things, and that's good. But I think what this personal development thing is really the heart of what we do.
What a privilege to be a part of that for young people and to see them open up and have that extra confidence and self-esteem. Panya, I want to ask a different question now. So the college is situated in Tak Mau, just outside of Phnom Penh. Can you tell us a little bit about the area where the school is, where LaValla is located? Tell us about Tak Mau.
Okay, so okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, so Tak Mau is not too far from the Phnom Penh city. It's about 6 kilometers from the Phnom Penh. And then so regarding of Tak Mau area now, it's too much development.
There's a lot of development and building.
Yeah, many building, development road also. Yes, and then so now we can say the Tak Mau and Phnom Penh, sure in the future we are moved to Phnom Penh. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then so
yes,
and then so regarding of Tak Mau, many popular now because now we have a highway road. We are not far from the Phnom Penh, and then on the highway road we call Hun San Road. It will be developed to become Phnom Penh number 2, and then so yes, we are close to the Phnom Penh number 2. That it's easy for us, yes, to traveling to city, yes.
Great, okay. And you spoke with us earlier about some of the cultural groups in Cambodia. Of course, the main group is the Khmer people and the Khmer language. Which other groups are present in Cambodia?
So at the moment, so Cambodia, we are the Buddhists. Yes.
So the main religion in Cambodia is Buddhism?
Yeah, Buddhism.
Is that correct?
And then we speak Khmer. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know by the history of Cambodian, that come up from the Chinese. Yeah, so mostly Cambodian or mixing blood. Not real Khmer.
Okay.
Yeah, not real
so
Cambodia.
People have mixed ethnicity.
Yes, even
yes.
My family also are Chinese blood.
Okay, so there's some Chinese heritage is strong in Cambodia as well. Is the Chinese language very common, or is Khmer more common?
That is Khmer. Yes.
Khmer. Okay, right. Thanks, Pagna. Shrenan, how does the education system work in Cambodia?
The system work in Cambodia. We have 2 systems, public and private system. And for government, I think that private public is the same. But for rural area, no private, we just public. And for just Phnom Penh or country, we have private for the people that are richer and they want to control their children go to study or not, they must let us to private school. But for the more the same way, I just my students go to private too. But for private, most of school I think is good, but some school that is not good too.
So the majority of people in Cambodia go to a public school from the government, but there
Yes.
are some private schools for people who can afford it. Is it mostly in Phnom Penh, the private schools, most of them?
Yes. Most of them in
Yeah,
Phnom
okay.
Penh for private school, but in rural area, no, for public school.
Okay. And what types of schooling are there? In Australia, we have primary school and high school. Is it the same in Cambodia?
Yeah, the public school, we start from kindergarten, primary school, secondary school,
Yeah.
high school, and university level 2. And
Okay.
the system according to the school system.
Okay. It sounds very similar to Australia.
Is the private school, they are have a high system, they pay much a lot of money to do. But for public school, they are coming to main subject too.
Okay.
My language, social study and science. And we
They're the
have
main
language
subjects.
like French and English. French and English. The children
Okay.
must choose one for French or English.
French or English, so they choose as
Yes.
their second
For
language.
grade 7 secondary school, if
Yeah.
the student choose for French, when the exam, French language appear. It's English.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks. We're learning a lot. Brother Tony, can you tell us what are some of the challenges that are facing the Cambodian education system?
Right. During the Pol Pot regime, all the people who'd been educated were killed off. So when that period of their history was over, there was nobody left in the population who had any sort of education. And they were the people who
Who had a strong education.
re-establish an education system. And as you would expect, they struggled. Now we're getting to the stage where there are many people who have been educated overseas, and they're starting to get into the roles where they can control the education system. So I would say in another generation or two, the education system will be back up to something that will be good. I mean, these people are
Be much stronger.
And when I say it's not good at the moment, it's true, but I don't mean that critically, because the people have worked really hard, given the resources and local education. The biggest problem for government schools is the teachers are poorly trained, but that's improving. The teachers are very poorly paid, so they often have to go out and look for other work for themselves. And the government schools have no resources. So that's the other problem. The private schools are there, they've got everything. Therefore, they're really wealthy people, and they have everything.
Yeah, okay. And we see that in many countries. But yeah, hopefully a generation or so, when you've got some of those people with a strong education coming through, the quality of the teaching will be even stronger.
I think so. I think it's
yeah. Panya, what are some of the challenges that are unique for young people who have a disability in Cambodia? We heard a little bit about this earlier, but what are some of the challenges?
Sorry, I'm not hearing you what you said.
Sorry, we missed that.
Sorry, what are some of the challenges that young people who have a disability are facing in Cambodia?
Okay, yes. One, for the disabled young people who are stay at home, one, parents, they do business for income to support the family. So they do not have enough time to care them. And about 90% of poor family in the countryside. Yes. So if the disabled young people, they are going to school, one, most of the countryside, the school too far from their home.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So it's difficult to get to the school.
Yes, no transport, the road not so good.
Sure.
Yes. Okay, so number two, at the government school, no slope. Yes, no toilet.
Yeah. The facilities are very limited.
Yes. Number three, So they do have the discrimination. Discrimination. Do you understand what I'm talking?
Yes, we do. They've got discrimination. So people in the community.
With their friend, and then so with the people also. And then number 4, so mostly, so because we are handicapped, when we walking, it's not like normal. And then so their friend, they will follow so their action, like example, like they are walking.
Okay, they're making fun of them or copying them. Okay.
Yeah, copy, yes. And number 5, many students in class, the teacher doesn't care about them. Yes. So even so we have the government education system also. Yes. And then so
that's very difficult. There's challenges at home, in the community, at school, everywhere. Everywhere they go, there's difficulties.
So if our children, they are finished high school or university, they still hard to find job.
Sure. So then it's hard to find work even if they do manage to study.
Even the government said all the company or business should have 2% of disabled young people, but it's still not available because regarding of our children that there has a big problem with transport, like they use wheelchair, they still not have chance to get a job. And then LaValla is the first school. LaValla is the first school in Cambodia. To support education to our disabled people in Cambodia.
That's something we're very proud of, and it's so important to show how, what wonderful inspiration and success and young people can be when they're just treated normally and given the opportunity to study.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Panya. That was wonderful. Shrenan, let's focus on something a little bit more positive then. So we've heard about all the many challenges. So what's the most important thing that LaValla provides for young people with a disability?
Yes, and LaValla provide, I think, 4 main. One for education. Education, we focus to 4 subjects: my language, mathematics, social study, and science, and we include English, computer, music, and showing. And
so
all subjects we focus to, if I take one subject, I must focus to knowledge. After knowledge, they can have just skill to do this, and good moral, and they can live with together with happiness. We have 4 when we teach one lesson. We focus 4, like four goals, 4 like this, or the computer showing like this too. And 1 and 2 man we have for health, and we have the teacher. Every day we must be with the teacher, physiotherapy each day. 1 student 40 minutes for physiotherapy. Yes. And provide general health is basic. Or this we have 1 doctor a time of it. And sometimes we have hydrotherapy too. The same brother said, because some students after the physiotherapy, they must be hydrotherapy is in the water to flexible or something. And is a refer to rehabilitation for the student with a crack or something. This. And for 3, we have good building. I always heard from brother said that this good building for disability, we do something with standard disability. We have a ramp or toilet, something, many toilet, and a ramp everywhere. It's a good building for the student. The student can stay here, the same Marist family. And 4, we have a 3 food. For a day, we have a 3 of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think they are very lucky before when they don't get a LaValla school, they say they may be afraid to go. But if they step by LaValla school, the family very happy and comfort with the school. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Shranan.
Yes, something you can ask.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like it's very holistic. So you're talking about the academic education, but also moral education, physiotherapy and rehabilitation. And so it's a very holistic, also nutrition and food. There's so much that you offer these young people. So that's wonderful. Brother Tony, we're interested to hear, and Brother Doug Walsh is on the line as well, and he's echoed one of my questions, which is, what are you hearing from the experiences of graduates once they've left the LaValla programs? What's the longer term success and impact of LaValla?
I think the best one to answer this is Shranan and Ram, because they know the people. So
that's fine.
Shranan talks about that.
Sure.
Yeah, yes. I always have from students. When I meet, I always have. The students say that when they stay at LaValla, the same family. When they go to government school, first time difficult for them because they listen quickly. Just when the teachers start, teachers write and saying. After that, on time to finish the lesson. Because secondary school will have 40 minutes for each lesson, not the same LaValla school. So sometimes if they don't understand, who can they ask? And yeah.
What about the alumni?
Yeah. And like this, if they get a job too, the same Panya said, if they are serious disability, means that they sit in the wheelchair. When they apply to another job, do the CV, if they know their disability cannot through the CV. Because most of them, government or private or company, they don't have a ramp. Well, easy.
Tell us about your husband.
My husband, I tell my husband because they are a student here. I think we are, because I'm disability too, we are very lucky to have LaValla in the part of my life. Because of LaValla, I have everything. I have my husband. I have a beautiful children, and I have my house near LaValla School too. And my husband, they are a student here. After they finish LaValla School, they continue to IT University, Computer University, and after that, he found a good job for cell card company for the phone. Now he is a technical support. And I know most of them for the students that good success for LaValla School, they are a nurse, they are a sales for my student. They call to me. Now they are richer than me. They are very good civilization life. It's very good. Most of them I saw is good living. But I just a little bit from the people in Vietnam. But we have LaValla School. We have 50% in the staff of LaValla School. They are disability. Yes, so they are very, very severe disability. The same teacher way or another. If find another job, not LaValla School, they don't choose them. But LaValla only for us and for living for me everything. I refer to LaValla. I always promise that I always have a LaValla until I don't have in the world. I always allow this Marist brother, very good. And all of you, we are thankful that the part of the Cambodian people, even if the government never sing about us, but you are the foreign, but you all will sing about other people in the world. We thank you.
Okay, so I working with the LaValla School for 20 years, and then so our children are for 20 years also. most of our children, they get success with their study. They have a family, they have a business. Yes. Okay, so most of them, so we say they have success. Yes. And then so all of our staff, some of our staff, they are due to our extra students. Yes, so we have the teacher, we have the gardening, we have the maintenance, we have the admin also. Yes. Yeah. So we can see, so for 20 years, we a lot of support to our disabled young people in Cambodia. Yes, I'm very happy. And then I just encourage MS, please continue to support to Cambodian. Yeah, okay.
I think there are lots and lots of good stories. Like Joanne talks about her husband with a disability, and he went through university and got good employment. I think there are many stories like that. And the thing is, for 99% of those kids, if they hadn't come here, they would never have got any education, let alone end up at a university or a training course or something and get good employment. So I think, you know, it's only a small fraction of the kids in the country. For the ones we do touch, I think they make a very big difference to their own lives and their family.
I think it's certainly one of the reasons AMS really focuses on access to education, and we believe that education can make a huge difference for the lives of and for their communities, and we can see that happening at LaValla. But I think you made a really important point, Shrenan. Education, it's not only academic, it's also the values and you know, sharing and feeling part of a family and part of a community, and that sense of belonging and having confidence and self-esteem. And so all of those things are really important, not just the classroom work. Thank you. Brother Tony, I might just, before we finish, and we'll finish in a few minutes, but we've heard some updates from you about what's happening during this COVID period, but I thought for those who've joined us online, maybe you can just give a quick update about what's happening due to the coronavirus. We know that some students might be able to still come and study at LaValla, but the majority are still at home. Would you like to just give us a quick briefing on where things are up to at the moment?
Yeah, okay. All the schools were closed here at the end of March, so no schools are operating yet. There is some schools do some online teaching. What we have done here so far, we have got our year 12s and our year 9s are back here now in the village. That's because they live in rural areas and they don't have access to internet, most of them. So they're here living at the village and they're online each day with their school teachers and they're doing their part. Because grade 9 and 12 do national exam. The other group we've got here about 8 or 9 here at LaValla. And they're here because in December, just before Christmas, most of them had major surgery on their legs.
Okay.
So they need constant ongoing physiotherapy and treatment. So we've brought them back so that can happen. And this week we are bringing a few more back because they need adjustments to prosthetics and various things like that. So they'll come back and get fixed up and go back home again. But there's no real indication yet of when the schools might open. Nothing at all.
Yeah. So I know you're trying to, the teachers are trying to, sorry.
The other thing we've done yesterday and today, we're taking food parcels out to 50 of our families because of factories closed and things like that. They've got them income. So we're doing that as well this week, taking up rice and food to families.
Great. And we know that the teachers are still in touch with your students where they can by phone and WhatsApp, trying to encourage them and keep them going, supporting also the families to try and continue some simple physiotherapy in the home where it's possible. So I'm sure you're all looking forward to the day when the students can return, but we know that you're working hard during this difficult period as well.
Yeah, the kids often ringing up and saying, when can we come back? When can we...
Gosh, yeah. Okay, we've got a few questions. I've asked a few as we go, but we've got a question from Tracy. How many years of study at university in Cambodia to be a teacher or an accountant? So if you're getting the university qualifications, how many years do you need to study for?
It's 4 years, 4-year course.
4 years for both. Okay, great. That's a lot of work. Brother Chris Wills, our good friend from the Bridge Builders program, asks if Hun Sen is still living across the back fence.
Across the back fence now is the village.
He's in the village.
Where did you say? What name?
Hun Sen.
Oh, yes. Yes, he is. So, yeah,
He is.
Yes, he's
still over the back fence.
Yeah.
And I wanted to read for you 2 messages from people who are here with us today. Brother Doug Walsh has said, it's great to hear the joy that you are spreading, and I'm sure that your former students have a great impact. I'll take your message to many of our people here in Australia. And Bev O'Sullivan says, we're so blessed to have you doing such wonderful work. Our love and prayers are with you always. So that's just 2 small messages, but I think they represent really well the message from the Marist community and Australian Marist Solidarity from us here. A message from Kate. Brother Tony, we still miss you being in the AMS office, but we can see the fantastic work that you're doing at LaValla. How lucky they are to have you there.
Yes, I think so.
There's some agreement there. Wonderful. So do you have anything else you'd like to say to the people who are with us this afternoon? And we'll share some of the videos with our community as well. Any last messages you have for us?
We appreciate very much the support we get from people in Australia, particularly the schools, Marist schools. I know they support more than just us, but it's good to know that so many students get to know about what we do. So thanks to them and their school staff and all the other people who support us in big and small ways. Without that support, we wouldn't be able to exist. This is a project that will never be able to be self-sustaining because all our kids are from the poorest of the poor families in the country. So there's no way they can contribute very much at all. So we rely very much on people like those of you listening now and other people around the country. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony. Just to those who are with us, it's your last chance. If you have any last questions or messages, just pop them in the group chat. But before we finish, Panya and Shrenan, did you have any last message or last words you want to share?
Yes. So I'm very appreciative to MS, to the donor, and then to the generous people that's to support the young visible Cambodians to get education. I'm very appreciative. I'm very thank you to all people who support to young visible Cambodians. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Panya. Shrenan.
For me, I'm very happy and very thankful so much for all of you. I always show your heart is very good heart for us because there are most of them, even it's me, there are a poor family. For education in Cambodia difficult. It's no AMS to support, no LaValla, no Marist brother. We can't have education. We can't have a good job. We can't have a family. We can't have everything. But for you, give for us, for everything, for life, for moral, for everything, for our life. We are thank you and the God blessing you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We can see the energy and the passion that you all have for LaValla, and it's infectious, and we're so proud, all of us, to be involved in a small way. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Yeah, it makes us very proud to be part of the Marist family. And thank you for your time this afternoon. I've got a message from Cassie Mowbray. Hi Tony, lovely to see the three of you and hear how things are. We certainly miss being there. We trust you're keeping well, Cassie and Mark. So you've got lots of friends listening today, and it's really lovely for us to see you. One of the silver linings of this difficult period of this COVID pandemic has been that we're trying new ways to stay in touch with you and to catch you, and this has been a real blessing for us. So thank you very much for your time. We know you're very busy and you've got a lot to do, so off you go. We'll finish up the call on that note. If anyone's got any other questions or would like to know more about LaValla, please do contact us at AMS. We're very happy to pass on more information. And if you'd like to unmute and say a quick goodbye or a wave as you go, please feel free to do so. Thanks for your time, and we hope that you all have a lovely evening.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.